Everyone, my name is Adam Hendershot, and I'm just coming at you with a case study, and it's right here on the screen. It's a $13,000 wholesale fee I got from Craigslist. And the reason I'm putting this out is because I see a lot of wholesalers out there that are getting started and they just want to do their first deal, their second deal, even if it's their fifth or sixth deal. A lot of times it can be hard to get a business started and know how to spend all the dollars correctly. So for all the brand new people out there, this is for you. This is how you can leverage something that's free and something that's probably going to be around for a while to get started in this industry. So let's just get right into it. So here's the goal. So my goal is to, like I said before, just give some insight into wholesalers on a free marketing source that will probably work for a long time. So here's just some information about Craigslist. I'm going to move myself a little bit out of the way here. There you go. So based on recent reports, estimates, Craigslist brought in 1.034 billion in 2018, an increase of nearly 50% from 2016 revenue. Obviously, partially that's due to them charging now for some areas in Craigslist, but there are no signs that people are not using Craigslist anymore. There's a whole generation of people, especially homeowners and people that will use this site to get rid of stuff. They use it to find contractors and different people to work on their house and stuff like that. So people are still using Craigslist, and it's just a great free way to kind of capture some of that attention. And that's from AIM Media Group. So if you want to check that out, that's where I got that information. And like I said before, Craigslist does still offer free posting in many of the categories. So even if you're virtually wholesaling, even if you're not in your own market, this works in many other markets as well. So you can go into the for sale by owner section in Saskatchewan, or I don't even know, anywhere in America really. There's going to be a Craigslist section for most cities in America. So if you go into those and you post, a lot of times you're going to capture the attention of these motivated sellers. So and there's also paid posts that you can do. It's $5 per month for it to be up for a month, and you can do real estate services. I wouldn't put financial services exactly, even though more or less you are helping them with an aspect of finances, but real estate services would probably be good, and it's relatively cheap to pay for that. So let's set the stage for this deal that I'm talking about. So I remember when we started really tripling down on Craigslist. We had a little bit of traction in terms of getting people to reach out to us from Craigslist. I don't have the numbers here to show exactly the conversion, exactly per post how many leads we were getting, but we've closed 3 deals through Craigslist leads by now. So I don't know exactly how many posts and how often, but it was free and it took minutes every time that I did it. So to me, it's worth it. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it at this second. So to set the stage, I was making these Craigslist posts. So let's just go right here. I'm going to move myself even more out of the way. So here's the post that I used to capture people's attention. So here's the title: Good Real Estate. I'd like to make a fair offer on your home: Davenport, Bettendorf, Moline, Rock Island, Silvis, Milan, East Moline. So, for the titles, what we like to do is just test out different things. So the idea with this is to, first of all, just brand awareness, good real estate, right? So, I say what I want to do. I want to make a fair offer on your home. So, and then after that, I'm naming the areas that we're buying. So I think that's useful because if, a lot of times if it says just we buy houses and they don't see something that specifically calls them out, maybe they won't be as inclined to reach out. So if we name all the places that we're actually buying, they're going to know that we're local, and they're going to know that when they call, they're talking to someone that is really from here. So, and that's kind of that same theme that I follow in the post. So here's what it says. I mean, I'm passionate about making a win-win situation with people that need to sell their home. Whether or not you work with our team, we want to provide you with the path of least resistance in time where a liability is dragging you down. I've lived in Davenport my whole life, and I have intimate knowledge about the community and truly care about the QC. And you can read the rest. It's pretty straightforward. Really the goal of this is to make it short and sweet and get them on the phone with us and make them comfortable talking to us. And, what we really want to do is set up an environment where we really feel like we're working together on the deal. So there's that. And then, from that post, obviously, we had someone reach out. This is, yeah, and that's kind of where you get into people's motivation. Why they're wanting to sell. So now we can just get right into kind of what happened when this person reached out. So what happened was there was a guy that I think he uses Craigslist a lot, and he was a contractor, and he had a coworker that had a house that he was looking to sell, and he actually needed to sell it. And that's the key, is there needs to be a high level of motivation for a deal like this to work out. So I got this referral, and I reached out to the guy that had this house in Moline, Illinois, and I basically just asked, I just went through our script that we use, just asking him basic questions about the property and trying to understand the situation that he was in. So this is the situation. So he was in a tough spot financially. So I remember him telling me that he had some job security issues, something that was completely out of his control. It was really unfortunate, actually. He had a company that was shutting down in town. So he was going to move back home to Missouri. He had some job lined up out there, but he also had some debts that he needed to take care of, specifically on the property. So, job security and debts over, down here, you can see he had $10,000 in back taxes and liens. So, that's something that we had to take care of when setting up the closing. So that's one detail. But, to get more into the emotional side of things, he felt a great responsibility for his family. And he just felt guilty, and I really just asked him, got to that level with him. I said, what do you really need to have this problem solved? Because, I told him I can do this. I can solve this problem for you. I need to understand what you really need from me so that I can execute. I need to make sure I can do this. And I was honest with him what I needed, in terms of the price and everything. But to get more into this, he was planning on moving to Missouri in a 3-month timeline. So at the time he reached out, it was March of last year. We ended up closing in May. So we ended up closing a little sooner than he had anticipated, which is fine. But it lined up perfectly, and he made his way down to Missouri. So, but there was kind of some objections to overcome because he wasn't completely comfortable working with a real estate investor. I think he had some preconceived ideas of what an investor is and what our goal is. So he thought that I was inherently working against him. And I think there's a lot of people that will run up against that, and that's just negotiation tactics you can use. And, I can put out more content about that, about how I use negotiation tactics to get deals like this done, because this dude didn't trust me at all. And that turned into $13,000 profit for our business. So that's just a skill that you need to develop in order to make these kind of deals work. So that's kind of the situation. And then here's the house. So it was a 3-bed, 1-bath. It was a 1-car garage. The ARV was $85,000 to $90,000. And if you don't know what ARV means, that just means after repair value. After everything's fixed up, this place was trashed, by the way. After it's all fixed up, that's what it can be worth, $85,000 to $90,000, which is not bad for the Quad Cities. It's something that can be flipped. So, based on our numbers, we kind of overshot it. We're always conservative with our numbers. We assume worst case scenario, because a lot of times when you open up walls, when you tear up floors, you find things that you weren't expecting. So we assumed $30,000 to $35,000 for repairs, and here's kind of what needed to be done. roof on garage and house, mechanicals, flooring, painting, and interior remodel. So what we did is, I got on the phone with him, and I went through all this information, and then, I got information about the property, obviously. And then, we actually, at the time, we had someone going out and taking pictures of the property just so then we could see, exactly how much work was needed. So that's how we got this information. We would just pay someone so much per walkthrough, and they would just go walk through it, get pictures, and then we would make an offer based on that. So we're making rough estimates, and we're assuming that this place needs a full remodel, right? So our offer range that we established was $17,000 to $21,000, which we felt like in this offer range, we felt like we could definitely get someone to buy it from us, buy the contract. Because we had already developed some pretty decent relationships with some local investors, we felt that this price was low enough that there was just no way we're going to lose. And I can show you a really simple way that we find the right offer amount, and it doesn't require as much deep analysis of the rehab. It's just kind of a rough analysis, and we make a very conservative offer. So, if you want to know more about that, feel free to reach out, and I'll be making some content on that as well. And here's the thing. So he had other offers on the house that were actually better than my offer, because I think he said, I believe he said someone had offered him $25,000, but because of my communication and kind of how I was talking to him about the property, he felt more comfortable working with me. And I just think it was communication. I really think that's what it was, and that's what he told me it was, and I believe him, and that can make the difference. Because a lot of times, what people value is certainty. A lot of times people do want an extra couple bucks, but when someone is truly motivated and they have a problem that they need sold, they want certainty that when you say, hey, we're going to close on May 3rd, they want to know for sure that you can close on May 3rd. So that's why it's so important to get the right price, so then you know for sure that you can close, because this is all about service. This is making sure that they that they feel comfortable, and that you can actually solve their problem. So there's that. And he had to think about it for a day when we made the offer, because I always make the lowest offer to start. Let me say that first, okay? So I made an offer of $17,000, and he said he had to think about it for a day. And I think he didn't really have a problem with the offer amount, because I already kind of gone through what he really needed to be covered to take care of the house and, take care of moving costs and take care of the debts and everything. So I thought $17,000 is a really fair price. It would leave us enough room to make some profit, and also leave enough room for whoever's buying it to actually have a good deal that they can make a profit on too, because we want everyone to win when we're a wholesaler. So what I did, when he said, I want to think about it, there's this strategy called feel, felt, found. And you can, I'm not going to go into that right now as much, but, it's just a negotiation tactic. And I just kind of got him to think about what was really concerning him. Because really what the feel, felt, found strategy is about, it's, I feel, I understand how you feel about my offer. Because, he thought, yeah, 17,000, it just seems low. And, I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. And, what I said is like, well, I understand how you feel. It does seem like a low offer, but, and I felt the same way, because, we've had properties that we needed to sell in the past, which this is absolutely true, where we wanted a certain price for it. But in our situation, we had to settle for less because we valued the certainty over the money, and we value the time. We want to move quick. So I told him that. He said, I felt the same way before. I felt, what you feel, but I found that it's actually better to move on quickly in real estate. And the experience I have, I told him, I bought so many, X amount of houses. I've done, 20 deals. So what I found is that, if you move quick, there's way more certainty that your problem is going to be solved. And that's really what I told him. And we ended up getting the property under contract for $17,000. So, obviously I was super excited because this was a deal that, I could have easily offered 25. We probably could have gotten the deal done. We would have made a lot less money, but I'm really glad that we stuck to our guns, and I learned a huge lesson from this. So yeah, let's just get right into disposition. So we'll just move right through this. So we sent the deal to our buyers list, and within 24 hours of signing, within signing the contract, we had 2 offers. So we got an offer at $26,000, an offer at $32,000, and we assigned the deal and closed on the property about 20 days before he would have needed the property gone, because he was having some issues, and his property was going to be taken. So the timing was perfect, and it worked out great. Okay, so here's the takeaway. Obviously there's a lot of deals in here, a lot of things that you need to be able to do to get the deal done. And this was just I just wanted to tell a rough story about what happened here. That way you guys can really see the value in it, and see an opportunity that I see. And yeah, but if you want to know more about some of the specific things that are needed to make this valuable, feel free to reach out. We're going to be having some events for wholesalers, and we're starting a wholesaling community. So yeah, just let me know. And yeah, so here's the takeaways. Craigslist is worth using. Excuse me, guys, I'm moving this stuff all over the place. It's great for new investors, and that's just because I know how it is when you're getting started in real estate and you don't have any money to, you don't have a marketing budget, right? I know a lot of people are getting started. They're my age. I'm 23 years old. I've been at this for a couple years. I've met a lot of other young investors getting started, and you don't have this huge budget. But what I found is that if you can leverage ideas, if you can leverage your mind and your thoughts, and you can leverage your time, because that's what we have a lot of. As young people, we have a lot of time. I know, as you get older, there's a lot more responsibilities. Obviously, there's things that you can leverage other than time. You can leverage relationships. Everyone has relationships, right? Yeah. I'll bet someone in your network right now has a house that they need to sell, probably, or they know someone. But the point is, we want to leverage tools and technology, time, and things that are at our disposal, and we don't want to focus on things that we don't have, like a marketing budget, for example. The way you get a marketing budget is focusing on these things that are free, and then with that money, then you can start to develop those processes and build a whole system around it, build a business. Yeah, but other than that, I would say create an advert that will catch attention, because that's the main thing. If you don't get someone to reach out to you, if you're not calling someone out to their face and saying, hey, this advertisement is for you, when they see it, they want to think, oh, wow, that's kind of actually crazy how much that speaks to me. That's the exact situation I'm in. So, the more specific you can be, the better, but not so specific where, you're leaving out, any type of a big audience, because you want to capture as much audience as possible, in these types of posts. That's what I've found. So what you want to do is you want to make the right offer to the seller. And it seems really simple, but what a lot of investors say is you actually make, your money on a real estate deal when you buy it, when you make an offer. You want to get it for the right price. That is the key to this whole thing. And lastly, to overcome objections, just serve the customer, right? Just give them value. Don't focus so much on the outcome of doing this work. Make sure that you're following the process and you do what you need to do to get the deal done, like getting the right price. But serve the customer. Make sure that they're comfortable. Make sure that they have certainty that you're going to close together. Have open communication. And that's really what it's all about. Is we're here to solve problems, and that's where the money will follow. So, all right, guys, thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next video.